They're definitely heavily implied that it wasn't a direct injection in this scene, that it was most likely placed in a drink. I guess the biggest question I have is, one, is it a misdirect? Was the injection not actually used? Obviously, the syringe components, right? That's placed somewhere, whether it's in a drink, whether it's in a character, right? But it could be a misdirect that it hasn't been used yet. If it has been used, or even hasn't been used, my biggest, I think, idea of how it worked is one of two things. A, they got the same drink, meaning that you could easily inject it into your own, do the old swap-a-roo, no one would know the difference, right? Or B, she got a drink, claims she doesn't like it, and then that's how the swap happens. I really don't see how she could, inject into, her ass or her thigh, right? You can make your thick jokes all you want, but, logically, there's no way she wouldn't notice the prick. And the issue is it's not like she can just keep trying and trying and trying. Rika has to die before her, and then she has to die after if she wants to follow into the same loop, right? So, it's hard to say what happened there, but it's gonna be very interesting. A lot different than I was expecting for this episode. I mean, we're in the Answers arc, right? We're gonna see all the different arcs through Sadako's perspective, and the victims themselves, and getting a different picture of what truly happened in Go. But yeah, I mean, this definitely didn't go in the direction I thought. First third of the anime, really just seeing, once again, manipulative Sadako, just looking at how to emotionally break Rika into never abandoning her, to them just seeing how she manipulated the whole gun situation. I remember back when Go happened, I mean, pretty much everyone was in agreement. Where the hell did that real gun come from? Given the fact that, it was when Keiichi was locked in that cell, right? And then that got pulled up, and it just feels like everything is kind of lining up to the point of it's interesting because I really wasn't expecting the uncle to come back in this arc, because obviously the uncle, it was, around before the actual abuse arc once again, but to see that she went over there and manipulated the situation to making him win a shit ton of money, taking just enough to buy a gun and, manipulating him when he's drunk to give up those horrible people and their names. This girl, it's gonna be interesting to see how they ended, because even if the original Higurashi ended in a friendship style ending, it's very clear that Go and Sotsu are two very different types of seasons and stories. Because prior to Go, I don't think many people would have said Sadako would go this route, but to see how it's been built up, it definitely makes sense given the story. My question is, and I guess my theories you could say, is one of two things will probably happen. I doubt Sadako will die. I really just don't see it ending like that. So one of two things is going to happen with that shard. Either A, it will erase her memories and powers of what happened, meaning we'll just leave a Sadako who, quote-unquote, never got corrupted. She won't remember all the things that has happened in the different loops. Or B, she's going to have to deal with what she's done and realizing that it's not just none of this never happened because they started a new loop, that she really did mess up, and maybe it'll be more of a painful thing there. It's just, I have a hard time believing that there'll be a way for Rika to fully accept in what Sadako's done. So either A, she actually full-on abandons her and says, hey, I'm leaving and you can't stop me after she breaks it, or maybe they'll just go full on chaos for the ending, hard to say. But I love the Answers arc. I think not many shows can do it, but I think having your first season basically showing you all the chaos, questioning what's happening, and then doing that very Higurashi fashion, replaying it in a different coat of paint, but really seeing it in such a different way, it's very interesting, especially considering they drop a lot of information that, should you either have not seen the original, or you don't know all the fundamentals, technicalities of the world, just how it works, right? Someone like Rika, I mean, the more painful of a death she experiences, the better she will understand what happened to make her fail the previous loop. Unlike someone like Sadako, who can fully remember at this point in time. Rika didn't get that ability until the episode 18 mark in Go. And for Sotsu, we're only in the episode 6-ish area of Go right now, right? So she has to, do a pretty brutal death. I saw some people last week talking about how, she felt like she really didn't know what she was doing. There's better ways to kill herself. Well, there's a reason for that. She can't just simply go out with a nice, simple, easy way out if she wants to have any indication of what led her to failure, right? And to see just all the information and to see the positivity in Rika so early on, she failed, don't get me wrong, but the transition from pushing back against Hanyu to then immediately apologizing, comparing the last conversation we had in Go with them, it's night and day. And the things that should normally cause arcs and loops to go successful. Last week, Keiichi opening the door. this week, him giving the doll, right? That should normally solve what would have happened in her normal 100-year loop journey. But Sadako being Sadako, it throws a wrench into the equation and things aren't happening in the same way. And it's just so painful, and they're doing such a good job with the directing. It's so easy to look at it now and say, how did Rika not pick up on this sooner? But I mean, while I did see theories early on about Sadako, it wasn't a universally agreed opinion that Sadako was looping alongside Rika. It was more of like fan theories that seemed a little too far-fetched, and when they happened, you're like, god damn, they were actually right. So, it's so crazy because this girl, like, she just wanted to leave the damn village that broke her life. She wanted to go on, live her own life. Yeah, maybe Sadako going to that school wasn't what she needed, but, you know, from Rika's point of view, this is a girl who's been abandoned. You don't want to abandon your friend. It's not up to her to stick by Sadako 24/7. She can live her own life. But to see the direction Sadako went, it's like, god damn. I mean, I think the biggest question everyone will have is, one, what's going to happen when we build up to Sotsu when it's finally going to be Rika versus Sadako, because, you know, there is going to be that point where Rika can remember and Sadako thinks it's a fresh start once again. But two, how will it end? Will they go a happy ending, or will it be complete disaster? It's hard to say, right? You can make theories, you can pull ideas from the author's other games and works and things like that, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think this episode, it gives me a lot of hope for Sotsu, even more, I would say. I love the first 3 episodes of Sotsu because it just makes the Answers arc even more interesting than I think probably most of us assumed. Really getting inside someone like Reina's mentality, seeing it from her perspective, while simultaneously seeing it from arguably even more interesting perspectives, given that we finally know what's happening. But having an episode like this that wasn't just a complete rehash of the previous arc, just this time with a new character, it really felt like, even though it is essentially treading on the same territory, it is a completely new story all at the same time, and very few series I think can do it that well. And I think that's why so many like time travel stories struggle, is because you have to repeat and it feels like you're just treading on the same territory, where something like Higurashi is a completely new experience between Go and Sotsu and all of the previous anime seasons and OVAs, ONAs in the original series, right? I mean, Higurashi Go was definitely probably one of the best horror, thriller, psychological experiences in the past, like, 10 years, for sure, right? And you can also argue that for the original, right? But to see where Satsu's going, I mean, I still have my questions. Will they be able to wrap it up with just Sotsu? Because I'm still sticking to my guns. We're going to focus on all the arcs, and then the last few episodes will be the actual ending. But I could also see a surprise like, hey, this may be, quote-unquote, the graduation season, but there's still another story left to tell to truly wrap it up. It's hard to say, but I believe in the creator, the production, everything about this. It doesn't give me any reason to worry. It just gives me reason to speculate, and that's why sometimes I just have to stop myself and say, you know what, I don't know. Just show me what the hell's going to happen next week. I'm going to put money that it was the old switcheroo with the injection into the drink. If somehow she stabbed her ass and she said it was like a hornet, maybe, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Drop a like to help promote the video and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.